got me on track where now I'm 24 years sober. And we can just put a lot, we can place a lot of things in there, you know. Having, you know, and I can just tell you a lot, but I'm sure all of us, put your own story in there. I'm working at the penitentiary thinking, you know what, man, I'm going to end up being in the penitentiary, the same penitentiary I'm working in. I'm going to be the laughing stock of the facility, man. Here I am, about to be institutionalized in the institution where I am the guard. I'm about to be the inmate. Now tell me, man, if he flipped the script though, but he didn't do it like that. And here I am, we're all together. So what I'm saying is, in terms of that is, seasons, man. We're well seasoned men. God's going to take care of it. Casting all I care upon him. Does any of that make any sense? You can put your own story in there. Now, I know we go around this room. Some of us may not want to talk about it, but you can put that in your pipe and smoke it when you leave out of here. Just think back of some of the seasons we went through. So, and now we're at step number 6. We stopped working, and because we've developed in terms of step number 5, admitted to God. We're in a relationship. We're actually in a friendship with God. We move from alienation to intimacy with God. We move from guilt to love. We can trust him. We can believe in him. You follow what I'm saying? That he has our best interests at heart. Let's move a little bit further so we don't have a lot of time. So now that we're in step 6, we stop the working and we allow God to develop that he's planted in us. And then here's another important part. It says our emotions are allowed time to catch up with our new experiences. You know, sharing and caring and opening. We got to adjust our emotions to that, because that ain't how we didn't roll like that. We didn't mix and mingle like that. You know, so we need our emotions to catch up time with these experiences. And so now let's go down to work in step number 6. It says it is being ready to have God bring changes. And that's most important. The changes is scary, but it's unstoppable. If nothing else, we can expect in this life, death, taxes, and change is going to happen. But now we're in terms of step number 6, we can expect some meaningful, beneficial, and rewarding change to come. So here it goes. He says, to God's going to bring some changes into our lives. And a lot of us believe that it doesn't seem like work, but it's spiritual work. And now we're developing a spiritual relationship, not only with God, but with ourselves as well, to allow him to bring about that spiritual change. And so, let's read it a little bit further. It says, God can't change us unless we are willing for him to do so. And so far, we have not asked God for change. We have only become aware of our condition and admitted our needs. So we're trusting him enough where we can actually ask him and expect that God will bring some change into our lives. Let's go down a little bit further. And here it goes, preparing for step number 6. It talks about quieting our minds and opening up our hearts. Okay, and so we're trusting him in terms of both of those areas of our lives. Bring us peace of mind and opening our hearts. Step 4 and 5 required a lot of hard work and brought up some painful discoveries about ourselves. Now we can best prepare for the next leg of our journey by making quiet time for ourselves. We put down a pencil and put on walking shoes, taking time to be alone with God, with ourselves, and with God, helping us to remove the distractions that sometimes shield us from reality. Now, here's what I want to say. You might have missed that, but did you notice where he said we put the pen and pencil down and we put on our walking shoes? Mm-hmm. Catch this. I want you to catch that. In other words, wherever we go, we take who with us? Take God with us. We take ourselves, right? We take ourselves and our relationship and trusting God to bring about that change. When we talking to people, when our behavior and our exchanges, we put on our walking shoes. Nobody's going to put on their walking shoes just to sit down. Are you following what I'm saying? So we got to take these steps. We've got to practice these steps, as they say, in all our what? All our affairs. All our affairs. All our affairs. Okay. I think that's pretty cool. And then we go down to the prayer for step number 6. And, we're praying and ready for God to remove from me these defects and characters. that I now realize are obstacles to my recovery. Help me to continue being honest with myself and guide me toward what? Spiritual, check this out. We talked about the spiritual change that's going to happen, but check this out. And to what? Mental health. And so if your mind feel good and your spirit feel good, you feel good. Are you following what I'm saying? A lot of times, not a lot of times, but there are times when we have a battle going on in ourselves. We might feel good, but there's something on the inside about us that just isn't right. But now we have spiritual on the inside feeling good. God's power in us. The Spirit of God upon us, has showered us with mercy, chosen us for greatness, marked us with His Spirit, and filled us with His spiritual power. We've got power that's waiting to be released in an appropriate way. So anyway, let's go over to page 105. Having completed steps 1 through 5. We kind of talked about those. Some of us may believe that we can stop there. Nothing can be more farther from the truth. It says there's much more work that lies ahead. And then I'm going to kind of skip a little bit. It says in steps 1 and 2, we recognize powerlessness and came to believe in the power greater than ourselves. Step 3, we turned aside our wills over to and our lives over to God's care. That was in 2 and 3. That was in step 3. In steps 4 and 5, we honestly faced the truth, which is where we at now in 6 about ourselves, and admitted the truth to God, to ourselves and another human being. We may have an illusion that everything is okay, that the remaining steps are less important. If we believe this, we will surely undermine our progress, and progress is what we're about. It says in terms of steps 1 through 5, it helped us to steer right in the right direction and to build a foundation, which is what we have. And now in step 6, we confront the need to change. Check this out: attitudes and behaviors. But we're trusting God to bring about that change. Now, let's look at the next paragraph. And what you're going to see mentioned consistently is the need to change. The word change. And here's the next paragraph. It says, the changes that are about to take place in our lives require a cooperative effort. God provides the direction and plants the desire. So it's inescapable. We've got to understand this. We're in a partnership with God. We contribute the willingness to take the action required. Okay? Our job is to respond to God's leadership in our journey. God never forces Himself on us. It's free will. Hey, brother, good to see you. Yes, always. And then we close it out with this one. It says, that is why step 6 is so important. This step provides us with the opportunity to become ready for God's deepest work, which is yet to come. And you know what? How many of us can say that we dressed up the outside just to put on a good front for whatever situation was, whether it was on our jobs, in front of our wives? We knew how to dress up the outside. Well, what we're about to do now is that when you say the deepest work, we're about to clean up the inside. We're about to really do some organizing in terms of our spiritual relationship and on the inside of us. Let's look down to the bottom of page 105. We're not expected to remove these character defects alone. We're expected to let go and let God. Okay? And then he goes on to say, we're going to release our thoughts to God. And then he reemphasizes this need to have a willingness to surrender, and that this willingness will increase. Okay? And it says this enables us to reach the point of step 7, where we're ready to let God take over and remove our thoughts as He sees fit. We're letting Him be in the driver's seat. God is in the driver's seat. We do this by working the program one day at a time, regardless of whether or not we see any progress. And that's by faith. We're trusting, we're entering into the faith realm of it. Okay, now let's look over page 106, and then we're going to get into a discussion about this, man. We must remind ourselves that the character traits we want to eliminate are often deeply engraved, and here it is, patterns of behavior that develop through many years of struggle, many years of struggling to survive. And you know what? How about this one, man? Can any of us say that we were in a point, when we were talking about seasons, we were in a pattern of where things maybe just never went right? It just, man, I'm having a streak of, we would call it a streak of bad luck, man. What else can happen? Get anybody, am I alone in that one? Yeah. Can you remember that when you think about it? It was a low point, man. It just seemed like everything you touched turned to...
Yeah, God just messed up.
Turned to dirt. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, anything got to be better than this. You know, we were in a period where we was just in baseball games. They call it what, a slump.
But I'm gonna tell you this: in recovery, you have them same aspects.
Bring it out. Come on, brother. Come on. Let them.
Because man, during that Christmas
Come on, brother. Let them have it.
outcome, because I don't do Christmas, but I found myself buying people this and that and the other before Christmas because I don't do Christmas.
Right.
And then I see myself coming down into a financial drought. Man, if I don't do this, in my belief, if I don't do this, now this is the first time I done this.
Come on now.
Oh,
21 years.
right.
And now I'm coming out saying, if I didn't do this, if I didn't do that, but it make people happy. If that's what they want to stay happy, then so be it. But man, I'm talking to God like, can I come back up from this? How you gonna help me come back up? I mean, I need to do this, I need to do that. But then I had to realize, I said to myself, man, he'll take care of it.
That's
Just
right.
leave it all in his hands. He'll take care of it. Give me back what I need. And then so happened, and this is the reason I believe it so strongly, is my niece called me and said, you remember the painting that I asked you, that I told you I want you to start this. Now, financially, this painting is what's going to put me back where I was. You know what I mean? So it works in recovery, and it works in the midst of hell.
And so, go ahead.
It's belief, man. It's the belief. You gotta, like I said, I turn it over. I can't do it alone.
And so when we talk about this cycle of behavior, we can actually there's a period in our lives. And so here's what I want you men to understand is, even in terms of working these steps, there are going to be periods where you may not be seeing the progress that you want to see. It seems like just things are just not going and moving as fast as you would like it to move. Are you following what I'm saying? So don't, that too is part of recovery. You're not always going to experience major, progressions. They're not going to, things that's not going to happen, dynamically or every time. So when we talk about these seasons, and we're talking about in terms of these pattern of behaviors that we've developed up to this particular time, we got to compare apples with apples. It's a major blessing that we're even here. Are you following what I'm saying? Right. It's only, we didn't get here overnight, as we talked about these seasons. So we have to understand that we're going to have, as in baseball, slumps. You have guys that are I don't keep up with baseball that much. Maybe some of y'all do. You have some guys that are in the Baseball Hall of Fame that have experienced slumps. And they just can't figure out what's happening in that particular time of their. Anybody understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But why am I using these terms? I don't know what I'm talking about. They got an ERA, I guess. But don't ask me where they came from. But they look over their entire record. You follow what I'm saying? And they turn out to be, check this out, Baseball Hall of Famers. You follow what I'm saying, man? So when we talk about their patterns of behaviors that we're going to have to deal with and trust God to make some major changes in terms of eliminate those patterns of behaviors, and we've been struggling, we use them as I said, many years of struggling to survive. They developed through many years of struggling to survive. It's going to be hard to you're going down there doing your stuff. Now we may bring up some issues and some pattern behaviors, as you said, that you don't really feel you're not excited about doing it. But when you look over the whole game of life, you're Baseball Hall of Famers. And you know what? Here's another thing I want to mention to you, man. A lot of times we have a difficult time because we get really focused in on where we came from in terms of doing these searching and fearless more inventory and a minute to God. We don't give ourselves enough credit. God can turn all of this around. Are you following what I'm saying? You men, each and every one of you men in here can actually begin to position yourselves to be life Hall of Famers. You see what I'm saying? Straight up. Your wildest and dreams and hopes and aspirations you put on the back burner can actually start to be the process of developing and bringing them up to the forefront, and you actually living those dreams out can actually be starting to take place today. Just charge it to you were in a slump at that particular time. Is any of that making any sense? Any of that making any sense? There he is.
What's up, bro?
I told him I wasn't having one more session if you didn't show up. One more, this is it. This one was it.
Then I was down at the house and sit there. The clock was down there.
Good to see you. Hey, but anyway, we were, you know what I'm saying? We were in the slump again. You know what I'm saying? But we coming out of the slump. Let's move on a little bit further. And he talks about it's a struggle, even in recovery. But we're trusting God with it all. So we move a little bit further. He says, these things don't vanish overnight. You got what I'm saying? Here it goes again. He says, these self-defeating character traits are a part of us. They are tools we use as a way of coping with our environment. Here's another key. Even when we work these steps, we can't go back to the same environment that we came from. Them people ain't interested in it. My brother was talking about that one over there at his ladies' friend spot. Some people ain't interested in being sober. So you don't need to go around those people that are still using, drinking, and dealing in, you know, addictive, you know, behaviors. You know what I'm saying? They smoking and getting high. They don't want to see y'all. Matter of fact, well, I ain't gonna get off into all that, but the point of it is, you know, that's a slippery stuff. You know how deep down, you know. Someone might come around and say, man, you owe me, man. Remember, just cause you getting sober, you still owe me. I mean, we took care of, you know, so, and so you get drunk. Come on. It's a slippery.
Not recently. It was
you think you better than us,
last year.
Yeah.
But I was close to 2 years being sober. And I'm going to the store, me and my brother, you know. And they know how I am. You know, the guy, he come in the store, I said, look, what's up, Tim? He's like, what's up, Joe, man? You still owe me $200. I said, what? I said, yeah, I owe you $200. I said, I ain't never forgot you, but I ain't got no $200. He said, you know what, man? You look good. I don't owe you. You don't owe me no more.
Is that right?
Yeah. But I did owe him.
Yeah.
But don't be coming in there and talking about no Ogar type stuff. You know, that's what was going through my mind.
You're right.
Don't come in here with this. You owe me, you won't give me that.
Hey, well.
Because I wasn't finna have it, but.
Oh, yeah. But here's what I'm saying is, come on, I got
you.
you.
Could have buy him anything. Yeah. He's like, man, I'm proud of you, man. You looking good, man. You don't owe me nothing, man. Forget that.
Yeah.
That's how God works, man.
But that's what I'm saying, you know, and he's mentioning here about the environment. We got to be careful, even when we work at these steps. There's certain areas we just can't go in. And we talked about putting on our walking shoes. We put down a pen and pencil in terms of all the work, and now we put on our walking shoes, taking God everywhere. But God really wanted, now this is going to blow your mind. Would God really want us going in this particular place? Or would he, you know, in terms of all the work that he's put in terms of getting us sober, would he really, is this really where he wants us to be at? And you can answer that question. And the answer would be a resounding no.
Yeah.
If you're serious about being sober, you follow what I'm saying? Serious about your recovery program and getting the most out of it. Now we'll move a little bit further when we talk about there are tools used as a way of coping with our environment. For many of us, we could be identified by labels as the irresponsible one, the angry one, the silent one. How many of us remember that we had nicknames when we was out there in the streets that you developed? And maybe some of us ain't heard it, but I've heard, that's crazy man over there. You don't mess with him, you know what I'm saying? That's muscles over here, you know. He'll fight in a minute, man. You know, we all had our own nicknames.
But you know, it's funny you bring that up.
Come on.
Come
on in, brother.
It's a bad spirit that goes along with them names.
Come on now.
Because I know when I go home to Cincinnati and I hear somebody call me Silk, I get all, you know, it just,
woo,
my whole narrative just changed. You know, I don't want to hear that no more.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
So that spirit that goes along with, you know, don't call me Silk no more. I'm Ed. You know, I don't want to hear Silk. Don't nobody hear no my street name.
That's all the window.
You know, it's ironic, but it's the truth. You know, I can be going to the store for my mother. I have my mother with me.
You don't know you said a mouthful. Come on now.
Somebody holler Silk. Oh man, I turn around and put my hand in my pocket. You know, oh, man.
It goes so well.
You know, it's just, you know, that the nickname can be dangerous.
Wow. You bring up something that's so important. Do you know a lot of times we would act out the name that people would call us?
Yeah.
You got to live up to that.
Yeah,
You know?
because I did when I was out there.
Oh man, that's awesome. You should bring that up. You know, and
Slow down. Slow
yeah, slow down. You know that. Slow down, man. You know, dude. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you know.
So, yeah, man, and all of us can relate to that. So in terms of, here it is, we're going to wrap this up. In terms of step number 6, what we're talking about is, are we entirely ready to have God remove all of these defects and characters, having looked back on terms of steps 1 through 5? We got a tremendous amount of issues and luggage that we bring from all those steps, and we got to hand it all to God. But, you know, we really got to trust in casting all our cares, as we said in 1 Peter chapter 5, I believe it was, last that one. Casting all our cares upon him. Are we really ready? Do we truly trust him? Can we believe in him? And understanding, and I'll end with this one, that, you know what? No matter if you got 22 years or 1 year, the point of it is you only got 1 day of sobriety. You know, 1 day, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 second. And what he's done is, God doesn't differentiate in whether it's your identity, whether it's the sins that you committed, or your heritage, you know, black, white, you know, whether you make $1 million or 2 cents a day, or whether you're not. He says, you know what, though, man, he's forgiven us of all that we've done. You know, that we accepted the fact that we've been forgiven. Are you following what I'm saying? And that we've been made right by Christ, you understand? By grace through faith. And so everything that we do, and I like this thing through faith, everything that we do, and we're brought back into right relationship with God. Are you following what I'm saying? So when you leave out here, understand that you're in right relationship, but whatever we do, we have to take it through faith. We have to, doing our steps, we have to trust through faith. Are you following? Everything it's like, to give you the importance of this one, it's like thread and a needle. You see what I'm saying? If you got a rip in your pants, let me see anybody in here try to thread something, try to hem some pants without putting the needle, put the thread through the needle. It's impossible. I mean, I ain't never seen nobody, any seamstress. You get the point that I mean? So whatever we want to do in terms of really benefiting from our recovery program, especially up to step number 6, we got to do it through faith. Are you following what I'm saying? To mend where we come from, to be solid and be repaired right. It's like you thread a needle. The thread through a needle. We've got to do it through faith. Are you following what I'm saying? And we're in right relationship. We're in a position to really become the beneficiaries and the reward, having been rewarded as a result of doing all these steps through faith. And so that's it, man.